Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Chess Journey to National Master. I'm back and I'm getting bald. And today I'm going to show you guys a very, very important game. That's for me one of my best games that I've ever played. And also, as you can see in the title, this was the first time I actually beat a master in a chess classical game. So let's see how it went. So this was round 3 of Open Game das Fitas. It's been a while now. And I started with e4 as I did in the previous game. The previous game, my opponent went for c5. This guy also went for c5. He is a candidate master from Spain, Alberto Dorado, 2218 elo. So yeah, very strong. And I went knight f3 and he went d6. So, you know, I wasn't born yesterday. I guess he saw the game I played in the round before, which was in this line with d4 and queen takes on d4. And he probably prepared something different to try to get a position that I might not be that well familiar. But I guess to his surprise, when I played d4 and when I took with a knight. So I went for the open Sicilian, which I didn't do in the other game. So yeah, I feel like he was already like, okay, this guy, I was trying to maybe prepare against him, but he kind of tricked me. But of course, he probably also prepared something against knight d4. So let's see. I didn't really. I was expecting either Najdorf or the classical Sicilian. He went knight f6, I went knight c3, and he went for the classical Sicilian. So I was very happy to get this on the board because I did prepare before the game some lines. So bishop g5, the best move by far against the classical Sicilian, the most dangerous move. He went e6, here I went queen d2, a6, castles, bishop d7. This is all like theory. I'm not gonna sit here and try to explain all the moves. Like, I don't even know myself why we play most of the moves in these lines. I just know the theory and I kind of play it. And if the move seems logical enough, like, I don't really question it. That's at least how I see this type of openings. So yeah, after bishop d7, I play king b1. I was following some chessable course so far. He played b5, and b5 I kind of didn't remember exactly what I should do. I think it is like a not so good move. And yeah, here I kind of stopped because I didn't know, I didn't remember what the lines that I looked at before the game. So yeah, here it was my first thing of the game. This is the time that I really paused. My opponent wasn't really blitzing out all the moves he was thinking or pretending to think. Um, so yeah, I had a bit of a time advantage, not that relevant, but here I stopped for a while and I actually thought about the position and what I should do. Not only just trying to remember the theory, but trying to see what's um, logical. So yeah, here I ended up playing knight takes c6, and after bishop takes on c6, I played f3, and you know, I ended up remembering that I was following the correct line. So yeah, after this exchange in f3, I was like, yeah, this is for sure how I am supposed to play this line. But yeah, my opponent went bishop e7 here. I went h4, so aggressive, just launching the pawns on the king side. Yeah, I mean, this is already kind of awkward for black because he's still really behind in development, and I'm already developed fully on pressuring the d file and also already threatening to just march all my pawns on the king side. Yeah, and his queen side counterplay is not scary at all. It's really not. So yeah, here I was feeling really good already. My opponent played queen c7, and now I played knight e2, which is a nice move. Because I'm already anticipating some b4s, and I want to transfer the knight to d4 here. My opponent went rook ac8, which is the counterplay that black needs to try to make. And here I just went knight d4, as I said, putting the knight on a very, very good square. On c3 it wasn't doing much, but on d4 it's controlling a lot of squares, and I'm putting pressure on the bishop. And black doesn't want to give up the bishop so easily, so he brings the bishop to d7, and here I just go g4, and I'm like, bro, I'm just gonna attack, and hopefully checkmate him, because this king is still in the center. And here my opponent actually surprised me with h5. And here I didn't know anything, my preparation stopped, like I had no clue, and I was thinking with my own brain. Yeah, after thinking for a while, this h5 move is, of course, trying to somewhat control the attack and stop it, but my logic was that, okay, if I let his king in the middle, I'm probably doing great. So I just took on h5. Of course, now he probably takes with the knight, as he did. And here, I play a not so good move, but it made some sense to me. I played bishop takes on e7. And after king takes on e7, like, his king is in the middle, like, okay, he connected his rooks, but just look at this bishop, look at this knight. I mean, it just felt like I had to be better here, and the computer preferred something like bishop h3 and just leaving this tension here. And I guess it makes sense because he still can't castle, but yeah, I thought it was simple to just take on e7, but yeah, I guess it wasn't really good to take on e7 immediately. I should have just improved my other pieces. But okay, I took on e7, still good. King takes on e7, and now I finally developed bishop to d3. Yeah, maybe it was better, probably it was better to just leave it on this diagonal. I didn't do it. I played bishop d3, and yeah, hopefully I want to play on the g file and push f4, f5, and just checkmate him. And yeah, here my opponent thought for a while, and he played queen c5, attacking my knight. I naturally played knight b3, attacking the queen, although I thought about knight e2 as well to try to control this f4 square. But yeah, I didn't really know what was the best idea, if it was to just bring the knight to this side of the board, to the queen side, or to the center, because on the queen side it also stops some ideas and it kind of slows down his counterplay. I ended up going with knight b3. My opponent played queen e5, and it was kind of nice for him, this maneuver of transferring the queen to the center and stopping my attack for a little while. And yeah, here I started losing a bit of confidence, because I was like, okay, I thought I was almost winning, and now it's not so simple. But okay, I had a solid time advantage here, and I still had hope that I could create some attacking chances here. I played rook hg1, made a lot of sense to me, putting the rook on the g file. And he played g6. Okay, I went rook g4, and again I was starting to gain confidence again, because all of a sudden, like, I'm threatening to push f4, and it's not so simple for him to play. Let's say he plays like a knight f6 here, I immediately win with rook g5, and all of a sudden this queen is trapped. So yeah, this is not simple for black at all. And I was starting to feel confidence again. The mood swings in these games are impressive. It can all change in an instant. You have to always keep believing in yourself. That's the conclusion I take from my games so far since the beginning. You have to always believe. It's never over, no matter the position. Truly. Queen f6 here by my opponent, and here I played f4, pretty quickly, which it was a mistake. Um, Now my opponent plays e5, which I thought it was good. I saw this, of course. I just took on e5, and my opponent takes on e5 with the queen, and I go back to g1. But I'm gonna show you guys why this was a mistake here, because like apparently I didn't really evaluate this position correctly, because after f takes on e5, my opponent has the strong d takes on e5, and yeah, now it's not so simple. My idea here was to play rook g5, and I thought, okay, like I'm putting pressure on the e5 pawn, which is isolated now. Also, this bishop looks very, very unsafe. Like some discovery with the bishop, and I'm attacking and the bishop. So I thought that it was a really good position for me here, but apparently knight f4 here is very strong. When I saw this during calculation, I thought, okay, I can actually just move the bishop, and he can't take on h4 because I'm taking on d7 with check. And yeah, I just stopped here. But it's a bit naive to stop here. I mean, my opponent can just defend the bishop like this, and it's not so simple for me to continue because yeah, there's no like immediate threat, and black can consolidate here. I don't know, if I play like queen f2, it's very passive. He can just go back to e6, and now all of a sudden he's threatening the rook, he's threatening the exchange of queens. So yeah, this is very awkward already for me. And I guess like if I try to check here, it doesn't do nothing after king e8. There's no follow-up, so yeah, tough. This pawn is hanging, this rook is loose because this pawn is hanging, so yeah, not easy. But fortunately for me, my opponent didn't see all of this. He just took with the queen, which is worse because I just go back to g1. But yeah, the correct way to go here was to actually play e5 myself, which is very hard to see from a distance, because now my opponent can't take on e5, and although like this is like a pawn sacrifice, it's a very good one because now I get f4, and let's say my opponent goes queen f6, just like in the other variation here, bishop takes on g6 already wins for white, because I'm threatening the pawn on d6. I'm threatening to take the knight, and yeah, it's everything is falling apart. It's actually brilliant. So yeah, here after f4, my opponent would have to play queen d5 here, apparently rook g5 and f5. Ooh, yeah, this looks very sus for for black. This doesn't look good at all. I mean, ooh, but yeah, I didn't see this pawn sacrifice, and of course, like if my opponent takes here, this is like bishop takes on g6 immediately. Like you don't even have to calculate. So yeah, I missed this e5 chance, which would have been fantastic. I mean, of course, my opponent can also take here on f3. It doesn't make any sense to do this. Just the same tactic. So yeah, I missed this, but my opponent missed the correct response, which was taking with the pawn. He took with the queen, I came back with the rook, and now knight f4 is not as strong. There's no pawn to just fix this knight here, and I can play around it way better because it's only the queen looking at it. But my opponent went bishop e6, and now I thought for quite a while, and I thought that I found a very good move. I found queen f2, and this move it's multi-purpose. It's putting pressure on the f file and on f7. It's also threatening an infiltration to a7 with check, and is also defending this pawn. So here my opponent took on b3, and I thought that I was a genius because I gave this intermediate check, and after the king moves I just take back. But yeah, apparently taking immediately would be better. Just taking immediately would be better. Like taking on e6 on b3 was horrible decision for my opponent. This is like the biggest blunder of the game so far, was this exchange, because my opponent doesn't gain anything from it. It actually just helps me because his light squares get super weak, and you'll see in the game. So I gave a check, My opponent moved the king, and now I took on b3. And my opponent moved king g7, so he's just trying to hide his king. But yeah, as I said, the light squares are super weak because there's no light square bishop to challenge mine. But I guess he thought that the knight would blockade on the dark squares and kind of harass my bishop. And the bishop doesn't look very strong as of now, but after king g7, my tactic vision started, tingling, and I thought like, okay, this has to be like super dangerous for black. I mean, I have so many threats here. I briefly thought about taking the pawn, but this actually doesn't make sense. Like in this type of positions, I'm playing for mate. I'm not playing to take pawns, and I think that would just be slow and would help him actually consolidate, like start harassing my queen and stuff like that. So here I played a very logical rook d on f1, just threatening to win the whole thing, threatening to take on f7, and yeah, I calculated a few options for black, like knight f6. I had a plan for this, which was rook f5, kind of crazy move. Take my rook because like the pawn is pinned. And if my opponent went knight f4 here, I guess this is even more simple, just rook g5, and yeah, everything is falling apart. Queen f6 looks like it holds, but just rook g4, and what do you do next? You just have to resign, pretty much. But my opponent actually went for queen e6, which I feel like it's the most natural response, just defending the pawn on f7. But here, I like actually after rook df1, before I played rook df1, I already calculated this sequence. After queen e6, there is a brilliant move that immediately crushes black, which is e5. So this pawn sacrifice, I finally played it and it's just over. Yeah, there's not like a chance for my opponent to even trick me here. He played rook a8, attacking my queen, trying to counterattack my queen, but it's not enough, and you'll see why. But let's see the other options. Of course, if he takes here on e5, there's bishop takes on g6, and yeah, it's over. Like, this king has nowhere to run. I'm putting tremendous amount of pressure on f7. I guess he could try like this, but it doesn't even work. You know why? Because I have queen takes on f7, and he can't take the queen because it's pinned. You of course can't take the queen with the king because it is protected, so you would have to go to h6, and now just anything you capture on g6 is just mate. So beautiful. So yeah, taking on e5 doesn't work. And what else do you do? You can't put anything on f6. This pawn is defending that square, and yeah, there's nothing. Like, the best move according to the computer is rook h6. Like, bro, this does absolutely nothing. Like, you can just go bishop f5, and like queen e8 would offer some resistance. I still don't think it will be enough, but yeah, I guess this would be more complicated than the game. The game was pretty easy because after rook a8, I have the brilliant rook takes on f7 with check, and I just sacrifice a whole rook because after queen takes on f7, I have rook takes on g6 check, and it's over. It's over. Like, it's over. He can't take the rook because it's defended by the bishop, and yeah, he can't take my queen because it's check. And yeah, he just resigned here actually, because anywhere he goes, it's gonna be over. Like, if he goes here, I take the rook. If he goes h7, I just take the queen. So yeah, he resigned here, and I was so happy. I was never this happy after a chess game. Like I finally beat a chess master, and I not only beat him, but I crushed him in 31 moves, which I didn't expect, you know. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. This was, my best win of my chess career so far. I think like I played just a great attacking game, and I'm very proud of the tactics that I spotted. And yeah, this just brings a smile to me. And I want to say that I'll be back actually competing uh just like next week already in a very very strong tournament. And yeah, I'll bring you guys those games for sure after I finish this tournament. And yeah, I'm very excited to be back on the boards. And yeah, looking at this game again, it just motivates me to work hard, which I've been doing to prepare for this tournament. And I hope I can also be the master in this next tournament. So stay tuned for that, guys, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.